Hello, welcome back to the reading of the poem of the Man God, written by Maria Valtorta, Volume 3. This is the beginning of the conclusion of the second year of the public life. Chapter 275, Part 1, Avarice and the Foolish Rich Man, 10th and 14th September 1945. Jesus is on one of the hills of the western coast of the lake. The towns and villages spread on both shores are displayed under his eyes. Directly under the hill are Magdala and Tiberias, the former with its luxurious district strewn with gardens, clearly separated from the poor houses of fishermen, peasants, and common people by a little torrent now completely dry. The latter magnificent in every quarter, a town unaware of misery and decay, looking beautiful and fresh in the sunshine before the lake. Between the two towns there are a few but well-kept vegetable gardens on the short plain, while olive trees climb the hill conquering it. From this hilltop one can see, behind Jesus, the saddles of the Mount of Beatitudes, at the foot of which there is the main road which goes from the Mediterranean Sea to Tiberias. Perhaps Jesus has chosen this place because it is so close to a very busy road, and thus people can come here from many towns, both on the lake and in the inland of Galilee, and then go back home in the evening, or find hospitality in many of the towns. The climate is also mild because of the height, and also because the tall trees on the upper slopes have replaced the olive trees. There are in fact many people besides the apostles and disciples, people who need Jesus for health reasons or for advice, people who have come out of curiosity or led by friends or in a spirit of imitation. In brief, there is a large crowd. The season, which is no longer hot but tends to the languid pleasantness of autumn, encourages pilgrims to come in search of the Master. Jesus has cured sick people and has spoken to the crowd on the subject of wealth unjustly attained and detachment therefrom, as is necessary in everyone who wishes to gain heaven and is essential in those who want to be his disciples. He is now replying to the questions of this or that rich disciple who is somewhat upset by such requirement. John the scribe says, "Must I destroy what I have, thus depriving my family of what is due to them?" No. God gave you some property. Let it be useful to justice and make just use of it. That is, assist your family by means of it, which is your duty. Treat your servants humanely, and that is charity. Help the poor, and the poor disciples in need. Your wealth thus will not be a hindrance, but an aid. Then addressing the crowds, he says, "I solemnly tell you that also the poorest disciple can be in the same danger of losing heaven through attachment to riches. If he acts against justice by coming to terms with rich people, after he has become a priest of mine, a rich or wicked man will often endeavor to seduce you with gifts to make you agreeable to his way of living and to his sin. And among my ministers there will be some who will yield to the temptation of presents. That must not happen. Follow the Baptist's example. Although he was not a judge or a magistrate, he possessed the perfection of judge and magistrate, as pointed out in Deuteronomy. You must be impartial. You must take no bribes, for a bribe blinds wise men's eyes and jeopardizes the cause of the just. Too often man allows the edge of the sword of justice to be blunted by the gold which a sinner rubs on it. No, that must not happen. Learn how to be poor, how to die, but never come to terms with sin, not even with the excuse of using that gold for the poor. It is cursed gold and would bear no good. It is the gold of a disgraceful compromise. You have been appointed masters, that you may be masters, doctors and redeemers. What would you be if your own interest led you to agree to wickedness? Masters of evil, science, doctors who kill their patients, not redeemers but parties to the ruin of hearts. One of the crowd comes forward and says, I'm not a disciple, but I do admire you. Answer this question of mine. Is it lawful to keep the money of another person? No, man. It is larceny, like robbing the purse of a passerby, even if it is family money. Of course, it is not right that one should take possession of the money belonging to all the others. Then come to Abel Maim, master, on the road to Damascus, and order my brother to share with me the inheritance of our father who died, without leaving a written will. He took everything for himself. And remember that we are twins, born at the first and only birth. So I have the same rights as he has. Jesus looks at him and says, It is a painful situation, and your brother is certainly not behaving righteously. But all I can do is to pray for you and for him, that he may change. And I can come to your village and evangelize and thus touch his heart. The road is no burden to me if I can bring about peace between you. The man becomes furious and bursts out, What's the use of your words? It takes much more than that in this case. Did you not tell me to order your brother to? To order is not to evangelize. An order is always joined to a threat. Threaten to strike his person if he does not give me what is due to me. You can do that. As you give health, you can give a disease. Man, I came to convert, not to strike. But if you have faith in my words, you will have peace. Which words? I told you that I will pray for you and your brother, that you may be comforted and he may be converted. Nonsense. I am not such a fool as to believe that. Come and order. Jesus, who has been meek and patient, becomes impressive and severe. He straightens up. Before he was bending over the little stout, angry man, and he says, Man, who appointed me judge or arbitrator between you? Nobody. But to avoid a rupture between two brothers, I was willing to come and practice my mission of conciliator and redeemer. And if you had believed my words, on going back to Abel Maim, you would have found your brother already changed. But you will not believe, and you will have no miracle. If you had been able to get hold of the treasure before your brother, you would have kept it, depriving your brother of it. Because as it is true that you were born twins, it is also true that you have twin passions, and both you and your brother have but one love, gold, and one faith, gold. Be therefore with your faith. Goodbye. The man goes away cursing Jesus, while all the people present are scandalized and would like to punish him. But Jesus objects, saying, Let him go. Why dirty your hands striking a brute? I forgive him, because he is possessed and led astray by the demon of gold. Forgive him as well. Let us rather pray for the unhappy man, so that he may become humane again with a beautiful, free soul. That is true. Even his countenance was dreadful because of his greed. Did you notice it? The disciples and those who were close to the miser asked one another. It is true, indeed. He did not look the same person as before. Yes, and when he rejected the master, he almost struck him while cursing him, and his countenance was demoniac. A tempting demon. He wanted to lead the master to wickedness. Listen, says Jesus. It is true that the alterations of the spirit are reflected on one's face. It is as if the demon appeared on the surface of his possession. Only few people who are demons, either in deeds or appearance, do not disclose what they are, and those few are perfect in evil and perfectly possessed. The countenance of a just man instead is always beautiful, even if his face is materially disfigured, because of a supernatural beauty. which from the interior exudes exteriorly. And it is not just a saying, but a real fact, that we notice a bodily freshness as well in those who are free from vices. The soul within us envelops our whole being. The stench of a corrupt soul affects also the body, whereas the scent of a pure soul preserves it. A corrupt soul drives the flesh to obscene sins, which age and disfigure the body. A pure soul incites the body to a pure life, which grants a fresh complexion and imparts majesty. This has been a reading from the poem of the Man God, written by Maria Valtorta, Volume 3, Chapter 275, Part 1, Avarice and the Foolish Rich Man. Thank you for listening. I will see you tomorrow. May God bless you, and may peace be with you.